Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about the effects of the scientific revolution, looking both at the immediate breakthroughs that occurred during the scientific revolution, but also at the long-term social and political effects of this historical change. Here are your goals. Take a moment to look these over. The major effects of the scientific revolution can be divided up into four different groups. One is the major scientific breakthroughs that happened during the period of the scientific revolution. Another is the changes that occur that result in new and more effective ways of making knowledge. These are things like academies and universities and stuff like that. Three is a long-lasting shift in European attitudes. And four are long-term political and social changes that occur because of the scientific revolution. So the first category, the actual scientific advances that happen during the scientific revolution, is pretty impressive in and of itself. Basically, every single field of science is revolutionized during the time period from 1550 to 1700. In physics, we get the system of Newtonian physics, which accurately explains movement of basically all known material objects at that point. Later on, of course, Newtonian physics will be proved to be limited by both Einstein's relativity theory and also quantum mechanics, but Newtonian physics does a really great job of explaining most of what Europeans can see at that point in time. In astronomy, the heliocentric model is widely accepted, and it helps human beings to basically understand their place within the universe. In chemistry, atoms become widely accepted, and the behavior of gas is accurately explained. In biology, bacteria and cells are discovered thanks to the microscope, and a system of taxonomy is developed. And in medicine, an accurate system of human anatomy is developed, and also the proper understanding of the function of the heart as a valve for circulating blood is discovered. So all these huge revolutionary advances that might seem simple to us now were more or less first conceived during this period, the scientific revolution. Then the actual advances that occurred during the scientific revolution are the new ways of making knowledge that developed during this time period. And so basically what happens from 1550 to 1700 is we see the growth of new institutions and new practices that result in increasingly fast breakthroughs in science and technology. People are making discoveries faster and faster, and the pace of technological and scientific advance is continually accelerating even today because of these changes in the ways of making knowledge. The first big change is a change in many Europeans' mindsets. It's a change not really of anything except in how people look at the world. And this scientific mindset contains a couple different aspects. The first is skepticism, which basically means doubting and testing received wisdom. So unlike in the Middle Ages where you just believe whatever Aristotle tells you, in the modern age, after the scientific revolution, people are more or less trained to question what they are told and to test received ideas. So if you think you can come up with a better explanation for something, go ahead, test it, try it out. Maybe you're right. Something else that goes into the scientific mindset is a culture of debate and collaboration. So basically, scientists all over the world, even today, basically make known their breakthroughs. They don't guard their secrets, but rather when they make a discovery, they share it with everybody. And that allows everybody to criticize this discovery, maybe point out flaws in their theory, but also to adopt these ideas and to build off of them. Modern scientists, it has been said, stand on the shoulders of giants. That is, they build off of the discoveries of past scientists. And this is possible only because scientists share their work. Another aspect of the scientific mindset is experimentation, which allows scientists to accurately locate cause and effect. And also it allows for the creation of new conditions, so you can observe things in interesting, perhaps artificial environments. Like, for example, you can put stuff in a vacuum chamber and see how things act in a vacuum, which is something you're not going to observe just in nature. And finally, the creation of specific scientific tools, which enable people, or scientists, to observe and measure things that they would not have been able to. So advances in mathematics allow for increased measurements, more accurate measurements, and new observational equipment expands the realm of what human beings can see, measure, and understand. On top of this new scientific mindset, we also see an increase in public funding for scientific research. And so basically, this happens because European nations realize that advances of science contribute to their nation's power and prestige. And so they start to set up things like state-funded laboratories, publicly funded academies, and also state-run universities. These systems that are set up basically serve as basically like engines for driving new scientific discovery. And basically what this adds up to is that once the scientific revolution begins, it never really ends. Maybe it's even still going on today, because new breakthroughs and new scientific discoveries continually pour out of this new way of thinking and these new institutions that get set up during this time period. The scientific revolution also has a major impact on European attitudes. The first thing it does is it gives a major boost to European self-confidence. Europeans begin to believe that they represent the highest level of human development. They think this because they believe that they're the only ones who are smart enough and industrious enough to discover the true secrets of nature. So while everybody else remains trapped in worlds of superstition and myth, Europeans have moved themselves onto the plane of scientific reality. Europeans also use this claim to represent the highest level of human development, to claim dominance over the rest of the world. They used to rely on Christianity to support their claim to control the entire world. As you can see, for example, in the Treaty of Tordesillas, where the Pope gives half of the world to Spain and half of the world to Portugal. But now it shifts more to science justifying European domination. Because they believed that Europeans were advanced, this justified the colonization of the quote-unquote less advanced parts of the world so that the Europeans could improve them by giving them science and civilization. This, of course, was a very self-serving argument, and usually just helped the Europeans feel better about taking over and exploiting places. It also led to a belief in progress. Before the scientific revolution, Europeans used to see the world as pretty much fixed and static. It didn't change. But after the scientific revolution, they begin to believe that the world could be improved and continually revolutionized through science, so that things don't have to stay the same. In fact, things could get better and better and better over time. This shift away from static worldviews to a belief in progress is also related to a declining influence of religious ideas in European society. Religious ideas tend not to change with time, and so we see an increasing disconnect between religious beliefs on the one hand and scientific beliefs on another hand. And many scientific Europeans more or less stop worrying about things that older medieval religious thinkers would have worried about. And we also begin to see the application of science to basically every aspect of human life. We see it applied in agriculture, and this helps to lead to something known as the agricultural revolution, where agriculture becomes much more efficient. In economics and industry, the application of science helps to lead to the Industrial Revolution. And in politics and government, the application of scientific ideas helps to lead to the Enlightenment, which we'll be learning about next week. There's a picture there of what somebody thought a scientific utopia might look like, where scientists in this like very fertile and awesome world, you can see giant chickens and giant fruits growing on trees, explore the world using telescopes and stuff like that. This was an illustration for Francis Bacon's utopian novel, A New Atlantis, where he argued that science could perfect human society. If you watch any TED Talks, you'll probably hear people argue something similar today. First of all, there is long-term political and social change that results from the scientific revolution. One thing is that Europe grows to dominate the world. As accelerating technological advancement gives Europe more and more power, better weapons, more money, more industrial capacity, they are more or less able to dominate the surface of the globe by the year 1850. Africa, Asia, basically most of the world is divided up between a couple advanced, industrialized, scientific European nations. On top of this, the realities of everyday life begin to change. New technologies and a changing economy change the daily lives of normal people. And this increasing change and the increasing rapidity of the change leads to rapid political and social change. And as societies and political systems change very quickly, we start to see instability. Basically, old systems of government no longer make sense as the situation evolves, and this can sometimes lead to a revolution. Also, old elites, like the old aristocrats, cease to serve a purpose in these new scientific economies, and this can also lead to a revolution. And so basically the scientific revolution sets the stage for 3 centuries of rapid growth, social change and strife, economic expansion, and also increasingly destructive warfare because of increasingly destructive weapons. And whether this is a good thing or not such a good thing, that's up to you to decide. Here are the questions once again. See if you can answer these now.